Cedar Creek, welcome to Preach Off number 8. I'm Lauren Snyder here with Luke Shortridge, and I don't know what your expectations are today, but I can promise that you are in for a treat. You can look forward to 4 quarters of competitive, on-the-spot preaching, some inspirational commercials, a Richter scale registering halftime show, not to mention some super thoughtful commentary from me and Luke. So, buckle up. You are in for a ride. Luke, what are you looking forward to today?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing if Ben and Barb can repeat. You might remember from last year that they were our champions. A little bit of controversy. Voting went down at Oregon for a short amount of time, but Ben's opponents would say that he has gone from the goat to the gloat, that maybe he's been feeling himself a little bit too much this last year. We'll find out how it plays out today.
Well, in the off-season, Andy Rechtenwald lodged a pretty serious complaint. From his perspective, Ben, my husband, who happens to be incredibly manly, adventurous, hardworking, caring. Did I mention manly? Okay, so Ben, Andy feels, has an unfair advantage over him. He thinks that my commentary potentially sways people to vote for Ben's team rather than for Andy's team. According to Andy, the only way to keep this competition even Steven is for me to agree to the Andy Challenge. That means that each quarter he wants me to provide my commentary using some surprise prompts provided by none other than Andy himself. He's actually equipped Luke to dispense the Andy Challenge. Now, Andy, I am fiercely committed to my husband Ben. But I want you to know that I care about you, and I want you to feel seen and cared for. And so, buddy, whatever it takes, of course, Andy Challenge accepted. I have no idea what I just said yes to. Okay, anyhow, I'm not the only one who's going to be facing some challenges today. Luke, what are our competitors facing?
All right, so here's what's going to happen. They are going to have a verse presented to them. They have never seen this verse, and on the spot, they have got to come up with a sermon. We did shave off 30 seconds this year, so they have 4 minutes and 30 seconds to put together an on-the-spot sermon, and then you guys are going to vote on who you think did better. Here's how the voting works. You are going to assign 1 point for a clear bottom line. You're going to have another point for an illustration or a story that fit. Another point is awarded for a clear next step, and then there's 5 random words that they have got to organically weave into that sermon, and then you can assign 5 points just however you want. How do you think that competitor did?
Now, the key to winning today is not losing. And the key to not losing is getting the most points. And that, my friends, is in the hands of you, our audience. It all starts by downloading the Cedar Creek app. And what do they do there?
So to get the app, you're going to want to scan the QR code that is around you if you are in one of our auditoriums. If you are online, you could also text GET APP, one word, smush it together, GET APP to 419-419-0707, or just search for Cedar Creek Church wherever you get apps. The voting is in your hands. You declare the winner today.
Well, we have covered all of our bases. Can't wait to see what comes of this experience today. Let's kick it down to the field.
He was the captain of his Pee Wee basketball B squad, and she's not kidding around even though she's in charge of all of your kids. It's Andy and Sarah. He breaks down scripture, his Jeep just breaks down, and she's always lifting spirits while in lifts. It's Ben and Barb.
Welcome to preach off number 8. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah, we're out here. For those who don't know, my name is Zeke. I'm your on-field reporter this year, but you're not here for me. You're here to meet the team. So let's find out how they're doing. All right, Andy, straight to you. How are we feeling this year?
Good.
Short and sweet. I like it. I like it. Sarah, I know you don't like the big questions, so I'm going to keep this one simple as well. What's your middle name?
Christine.
Perfect. There we go. All right. Ben, how are we feeling?
Let's make it 2 in a row.
All right. And Barb, you know I got to ask. Who are we wearing? I see the shoes. I see you. Who are we wearing?
We are wearing Steve Madden, and they are super comfortable. Tennis shoe heels. Get some.
All right. All right. Referee, if you will come out here, please, sir. All right, team. All right, we have a coin here. One side is the Patriots. The other side is the Seahawks. We're going to flip it. Whatever side it lands on, you get to choose to receive or defer. Go ahead and flip. Patriots it is. What are we doing? They want to receive. All right. Back to you, Luke and Lauren.
Thanks, Zeke. In this first quarter, the Patriots are going to tackle this verse. It's from Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 10. It says, "And Nehemiah continued, 'Go and celebrate with a feast of rich foods and sweet drinks, and share gifts of food with people who have nothing prepared. This is a sacred day before our Lord. Don't be dejected and sad, for the joy of the Lord is your strength.'" We'll have some context on this verse from Luke right after this.
Aw, look at the cute little baby. Look at the cute baby. Look at the cute little baby. Too bad they're joking! Are you fed up with your baby being out of shape? So are we! From your friends at Monster Energy comes Infoswell! Using all the chemicals you don't know but still love! Oh, yeah! Your baby will go from Similac to Simijacked! We'll get your baby swole! 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 Aww, oh Gucci Gucci, Gucci Gucci, Gucci Gucci. Unstoppable babies! Infoswell!
Do you know how you can tell that a baby has started taking CrossFit?
How?
Won't stop babbling about CrossFit.
Ha ha ha, you're so funny, Luke. Hey, how about you quit bad-mouthing CrossFit and just give us the context on the verse?
All right, so this is a powerful, important verse, and Nehemiah had gone back to Jerusalem to rebuild the wall. This was the time when the Israelites were outcast from their own land, so Nehemiah comes back in, and part of that is the scribe Ezra reads the book of the law. The book of the law had not been followed for about 100 years, and the people begin weeping when it is read. But even though they are sad because they realize they have sinned against the Lord, there is joy because now they are turning back to him. In fact, this is a festival that is instituted called the Feast of Trumpets. Rich foods here would be meat, not eaten at every single meal. Sweet drinks would be sweet, non-alcoholic drinks. It became a time of feasting and praising God because they were turning back to him. Will our competitors turn our hearts to the Lord? We are about to find out.
Well, she's battle-tested and a blitzing beast. Put your hands together for Barb Roos.
Have you ever supposed to have been happy about something that you just weren't happy about? Well, it was a couple of days before my 50th birthday. And I didn't want to have a birthday party because I was turning 50 and I was just like, I just wasn't in a state of mind. Like life felt like it was constant rain and I was without a raincoat. And I remember my kids they were just in town and they were like, "Mom, what do you want to do for your birthday?" And I'm like, "I don't want to do anything. I just kind of just want to let the day pass." Like I was kind of kicking pebbles every day. And I remember on the day, it was a couple of days before my actual birthday, we were at the zoo. It was so hot outside. And I was just grumpy. I had broken up with someone and I just was grouchy and I wanted people to leave me alone and I had no whimsy whatsoever. And my kids said, "Mom, we want to celebrate with you." And I'm like, "I don't want to celebrate. My life just isn't where I want it to be." I was looking at the clock and just felt like time was getting away from me. And so I went home and I climbed in the bed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and And I need you to know this. I didn't just climb into bed to take a nap, but as a black woman, I put my bonnet on. And when a black woman slips on this silk cap, you really need to try it out. It's silk lined. And when I climbed in my bed, that was me saying, I am done for the day. A few minutes later, it was about 45 minutes, my sister came in and she said, Barbara, we want you to get up. And I was like, leave me alone, my bonnet is on. Because you know that you do not mess with a black woman when her bonnet is on. And she finally scraped me out of bed and said, the kids are waiting for you. And I was like, bonnet, go away. Well, unbeknownst to me, 45 minutes later when I arrived, my family had thrown me a surprise birthday party. I walked in and they went, surprise! And I was like, oh. But here is what I realized. I wasn't in the mood to celebrate because my heart was heavy. But celebration was exactly what I needed. You see, in Nehemiah, who did not know how to crochet, there was a place where Nehemiah had been talking with the people about the hard times they were having. And he says that go and celebrate with a feast of rich foods and sweet drinks. And this is meaning that, like, to really get into things, not just to show up with some Doritos on the table and you know how when you're just half-heartedly getting into things, he really just said, invest yourself with time and effort, share gifts of food with people who have nothing prepared, meaning make sure everybody is in on it. For this is a sacred day before our Lord. Don't be dejected and sad, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. Friends, this is a verse for you and I right now today. It just seems to be so heavy out there. And it is so much easier for us to focus on what the negative is. And when we think about what is it that we want to give thanks for, what is hard is we want to give thanks for the picture that we have in our head about the way things are supposed to be. And because it doesn't seem like that, it feels like thankfulness is hard. But when Nehemiah is saying, for the joy of the Lord is your strength, pay attention to what is happening here. It is God's joy, not the joy you're trying to find in your circumstances, not the joy of everything going right. But when you realize that it is God who will give you joy, that is actually what equips you and I to have the strength and the energy that we need to deal with the life that is in front of us today. And so your bottom line is that you do not have to give thanks for everything that is happening. But because God is a gracious God, you can give thanks in the midst of everything that is happening. And as a church, we want to come alongside of you and help you develop that practice. And so at our Cedar Creek app, we have the daily gratitude. Because for you to be able to experience the joy of the Lord, it has to be a practice. So when you know how to give thanks to God in everyday things, it will help you develop the habit of giving thanks to God for all things. And that, friends, that is how you right now can live a life of a continued joy.
All right. Okay, Barb, so I got to go back to the beginning of the story. Okay, what birthday were you celebrating at this time?
It was my 50th birthday.
Black don't crack. Back to you, Luke and Lauren.
Zeke, you are not wrong. Luke, what'd you think about that?
Barb did great. I have full marks for Barb. Her story or illustration fit well, talking about a surprise party in a verse that was all about partying. Catchy bottom line, you can give thanks in the midst of everything that is happening. Clear next step, the daily gratitude. Love that. And she got all of her random words: raincoat, pebble, whimsy, clock, and crochet. Nice job, Barb.
All right, I'm ready to provide my commentary. I need to do my first Andy challenge. What do we have here, Andy? This is for you. I'm ready to do this because I want you to feel cared for. I'm going to provide my commentary. I need to exaggerate every facial expression for the rest of Preach-Off. Okay. Barb Bruce played with her heels, and she really brought the heat. Way to go, Barb. How's that? Pretty okay?
That's pretty good.
All right, not bad. Not bad. I'm supposed to keep doing it. All right. Verse for second quarter is from Psalm 16, verse 11. You will show me the presence of life, granting me the joy of your presence and the pleasures of living with you forever. Context from Luke after this.
Before the cheers of the crowd, before the spotlight, before the championship rings. It starts in the grind. Early mornings, extra reps. Sacrifice that no one sees. Because greatness isn't given, it's earned. Reusable by Band-Aid. With liquid activated adhesive, just lick it and stick it. Available for purchase at your local pharmacy. Or get them totally free on the ground or in a trash can or really anywhere you find used Band-Aids.
I mean, this really is...
Stop looking at it. I found it in the pool. Stop looking at it.
So weird. Luke, what's the context on this verse?
All right, so this is a psalm of David. David was the second king of Israel, maybe the greatest king that Israel ever had. He was a poet. He was a warrior. He slew Goliath. And here he is writing psalms to God. And he is talking about how idol worship is empty. Idol worship was rampant in his day, as it is also in our day. This verse was quoted then in Peter's speech in the book of Acts, and over 2,000 people accepted Christ that day, putting aside things like idol worshiping and focusing directly on the Lord. Now, will our next sermon focus on the Lord? That is what we are about to find out.
Well, she's an absolute workhorse. I can't wait to be impressed. Friends, would you clap for Sarah Bucher?
So you know when you're a kid and all you want to do is grow up and being an adult, and you can't wait to get out on your own and maybe buy that first house. You know, you're like clenching at that rope. You can almost see adulthood and you want it. And you're imagining the beautiful window of your brand new first house, you know, and you're going to put your jar of honey in the kitchen, and it's going to be beautiful, right? And you're doom scrolling the list on the house apps, trying to find something. You're sketchbooking out your favorite architecture drawing, and then finally you buy the house, and you're so excited, and then it's not so fun anymore because things start to fall apart. And so you're laughing at first, right? You're like, oh, okay, broken doorknob, right? And then you're laughing a little more because the kitchen sink doesn't work, and then pretty soon you're crying because everything is falling apart. This was us this summer. We love our home, we really do, but we had like worst case scenario where everything, I'm telling you, everything was falling apart. At one time, we had a list of like 10 things, and big ticket things like we need new windows, appliances, cars were falling apart. I mean, like everything you could imagine. And you can't fix everything at one time. It's tricky, and you only have so much money. So we really had to prioritize. And we were doing our best, but it was a tough situation. And we finally had a night, it's a summer night, and we kind of had, you know, we were prioritizing, and we were fixing some things, and we had a moment of peace. And my husband and I are sitting outside. It's a beautiful summer night. And it's like, do you smell that? It's like, what's that smell? It was not a campfire s'more sort of smell. And I'm like, man, it sounds like something's burning. I hope everybody's okay. And I turn and look, and our light fixture outside is smoking. So I'm like, Brett, look. He runs over, rips it off the house. Just rips it off the house. So house isn't burning, but now we have a hole. So we're like, great, and you can't just fix one light because they all match. So then you had to replace all the lights. So that was our next project, and we got it done, but it was touch and go for a little bit. Heated fellowship, I think that's what you call it. We're not at our best when we're fixing things, but we got it fixed. And here's the thing. I think sometimes in life, we can experience seasons where we feel like everything is falling apart. And I don't know what it is for you. I don't know if it's your job. I don't know if it's a relationship. I don't know if it's finances, but it can feel like everything is falling apart. And I've got hope for you today. Psalm 16:11. It says, "You will show me the way of life, granting me the joy of your presence and the pleasures of living with you forever." Here's the thing. There is joy in the presence of the Lord. Your bottom line today is that God's got it. Whatever it is that you're facing, God's got it. He sees you, He's got you, and He does have a plan through all the crazy. And He knows what you need. What you need is Him. You need His presence guiding you, walking alongside of you, directing you on your next step. And so I think for all of us, sometimes we have to pause and remember that there is still a good God amidst all the crazy and that He's got it. So your next step today is to name whatever it is that's swirling around in your head right now, whatever it is that's keeping you up at night. You name it, you say it out loud, then you say, God's got it. These finances, God's got it. This marriage, God's got it. This anxiety, this depression, God's got it. He's got it. And then sit and rest in the fact that you have a good God that sees the things you're going through and that He is giving you the gift of His presence in a situation that you wouldn't have asked for. But you've got a God that you need. God's got it.
All right, so I've been told Sarah's brain is normally fried after these moments, so we're going to ask you an easy question, okay?
Thank you.
What color does the number 7 smell like?
Zebra.
Back to you, Luke and Lauren.
Zebra. That's pretty brilliant. What'd you think about that, Luke?
I give Sarah a lot of credit. That was super strong. She flew through her random words, got them all in there. Rope window, honey, doom scroll, and sketchbook. Also, her story illustration about her house falling apart. Threw her husband under the bus a little bit there, but recovered well with sometimes our lives feel like they're falling apart. And then her next step, which correlated perfectly to that, was to say it, name it, God's got it. And that also tied in with her catchy bottom line, God's got it. It was all working for me. It all blended together beautifully. Great job, Sarah.
Well, I get to provide my commentary. It's time for Andy challenge number 2. Bring it on, Luke. Andy, you thought you were funny last time? That's fine. That's totally fine. Whatever you need. Every time I finish a sentence, I need to spin in my chair. No problem. I can totally do that. I don't get all wound up with this cord or anything. Here's what I want to say about Sarah. She saw a risk, but it wasn't tricky for her. She took that deficit and turned it into an opportunity. Sarah, great job. All right, Andy, bring it on. I'm ready for whatever's next. With that, Luke, we want to remind everyone to keep on voting.
It is time to vote. Do not wait until we are all finished. Get your votes in now. You will decide our champion today.
That's right. That's right. And it's not just voting that you need to think about. You also get to think about something extra special that's coming up. It is just about time for the halftime show. We're kicking it back down to the field.
Don't destroy the disc.
Hey, Ben, nothing subliminal about this. Call me. What'd you think, Luke? How's voting going?
All right, so the voting is coming in. I think we are ready to reveal our first half scores so far. We are tied 12-12. It is anybody's game.
Whoa, it sure is. I can't wait to head into the next quarter, see what's coming up. But as we're doing that, don't forget, get on that Cedar Creek app, vote now. Make sure that your voice is heard. All right, so as we head into the third quarter, the team is going to be tackling this verse from Luke chapter 2, verse 10. It says, "But the angel said to them, 'Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people.'" We're going to have some context on this verse from Luke right after this.
That smell is out of this world.
I can't even imagine. All right, Luke, would you just get on with the context?
So this verse happens right in the middle of the Christmas story, and you may remember that Jesus' birth was announced to shepherds. Now, shepherds in the first century were actually seen as a little bit of low class. They were just common, everyday, ordinary people, and they are terrified when the angel appears to them and announces the birth of Jesus. So these shepherds, they are the first ones to hear about this upcoming news, which is significant because this important news of an upcoming king, it was given to low-born, regular, everyday people. Luke, the author of this, he focused his ministry on the Gentiles, the non-Jewish people, and wanted to convey that Jesus' message was for everyone. And that's exactly what the angels did here by appearing to shepherds. So, is this next sermon for everyone? We're about to find out.
Well, he looks great and says his body feels good. Yes, it does. Friends, you are not going to be disappointed. Put your hands together for Ben Snyder.
How do you follow that? A couple months ago, my daughter, youngest daughter, Mary, had to get some staples taken out of her head. Yeah, that's right. She was jumping backwards on her bed about 3 weeks before and jumped a little too far and hit the windowsill, and so she split her head open. You know, it's like, as parents, you know how this goes. 1 minute you're folding laundry, and the next minute you're sending photos to ChatGPT saying, should I go to the emergency room or not, you know? And so eventually things got better, and my wife at the time didn't even want to look at it. No flashlight, no nothing. I mean, just kind of move past it. I think Mary was... Lydia was helping diagnose some of this because Lauren was crashed out on the couch somewhere. But eventually the staples had to come out, and so she's nervous. Mary is nervous. And so we look up again, you know, turning to the lovely world of the internet for some advice. And so chat says, don't worry, taking out staples probably won't hurt. Most people think it's just a little pressure. Like as light as a feather, you know, like one person said they didn't even realize that anything had happened. So the deadline came, it was time to go. We showed up and we have to wait 45 minutes. You know, it's like 45 minutes of Mary now, what was kind of comforting, like it hadn't solved all of her problems, like, oh, okay, it'll be okay. You know, I'll be able to get through this. Now 45 minutes of her playing in her mind all of these scenarios. You know, it's kind of like when you take too big of a spoonful of peanut butter and you're sitting there kind of working it over and over in your mouth, like, oh, it's taking forever. And so eventually they're like, are you ready? And she's nervous, and we go in and we sit down, and in comes the doctor and a helper. It was an RA, and the RA looked at me and said, do you mind if a student helps? What do you say? Like, yes, you know? But the student had all of this like energy around her. Like, I had seen a few YouTube videos. I know how to do this. And so they get started. They look at Mary. Mary holds my hand, and they start to take the first or the staple out, and nothing happens. And they can't get it. It's like not working. And then she tries again. And now the doctor or the RA is involved. It's a group project now. It's not just a single learning activity. Everybody's involved. And then it's not working, and Mary's crying, and she's holding my hand, and it's not, I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do, right? Oh, this is terrible. And they're like, do you want us to get the numbing cream? I'm like, numbing cream, now. Oh, yeah, why wasn't that like 5 minutes ago? So eventually they put the numbing cream on, and all of this time goes by, and Mary's contemplating if she's going to survive this or not. That's what she told me she was worried about, and poor girl. And then eventually they do get the staple out, and she survives. But I was there holding her hand, looking at her tears. And, it was interesting for us in that moment. I realized comforting words aren't what we need. It's a comforting presence. I think sometimes, depending on where you're at spiritually, like we can talk a lot about God, and there are a lot of thoughts, sometimes misconceptions about God. But one of the things that makes Christianity unique is the fact that an angel, yes, came to give some comforting words. Don't be afraid. I bring you good news that will bring great joy for all the people. The good news is that God was coming to earth. And so, yes, comforting words are helpful, but it was pointing to a presence that we need. Like what Mary needed more than comforting words was someone who loved her and who was present in the midst of a difficult moment. And I'm not sure what you're facing today, but this message that brings great joy isn't in the words, it's in the person that the words are pointing to. And so, friends, your bottom line is don't lean on comforting words alone. Trust the presence that comforts us. Okay, don't lean on comforting words alone. Trust the presence that comforts us. That's in Jesus. And I know some of you are new. Maybe you're checking this out. I would encourage you as a next step just to open your heart and mind to what Jesus is really all about and explore how he may change your world even in the midst of a challenging situation.
All right, Ben, so you had a term that came out, crash out. Have you heard of that word before, that term?
Yes, today.
All right, so according to Urban Dictionary, crash out is slang for losing self-control due to extreme anger or stress. Back to you, Luke and Lauren.
Well, that was interesting intel. Thank you, Zeke. What'd you think, Luke?
I gave full points to Ben. He did a fantastic job. Poor Mary and the trauma that she experienced. Usually it's Andy that's exploiting his kids for the preach-off, but today Ben did it to great effect. Also, he had a great bottom line. Don't lead on comforting words alone. Trust the presence that comforts us. And next step, open your heart and mind to what Jesus is all about. And he got all the random words: flashlight, feather, deadline, peanut butter. He also used crash out correctly because he said Lauren crashed out. So great job, Ben.
Well, there we go. I can't wait to share my commentary. Andy, challenge number 3. I'm ready for it. Here we are, digging in, and it says, talk like a fire and brimstone preacher. Keep bringing up the fires of hell. Ben Snyder, that was a true chef's kiss, and I can't wait to give you one of mine later. This is ridiculous. Andy. Okay, all right, we're just going to move on. The verse for the third quarter is from Philippians chapter 4, verse 4. It says, always be full of joy in the Lord. I say it again, rejoice. We're coming for you, Andy. We'll get the context on the verse after this.
You need to get surgery on your knee.
You know I hate doctors and surgery. And I'm so busy at work. Oh, shoot, I'm running late.
Hey, excuse me, sir. Do you have the time?
Yeah, it's 8:20.
It's all part of the procedure. Let's make sure we get the right knee this time.
All right, folks. Let's get him back.
To see, give.
What? What? What is it?
I knew it was you.
How's your knee?
Feels brand new. I love you so much.
I love you too.
Oh, don't think I forgot about that root canal you need.
What? Stout Health. Life's unexpected. So are we.
Don't worry, Luke. There's nothing to be concerned about.
I ordered the Whipple because I thought it was a tasty dessert.
You're so weird. Give us the context on the verse.
Okay, Philippians 4:4. This comes to us from Paul. Paul was a church planner. He was also a pastor. And what's interesting about this verse, as he talks about joy of the Lord, is that Paul was in prison, probably in Rome. So Paul is living out the very words that he is saying. His outside circumstances aren't providing comfort. They're providing hardship, but his joy is rooted in the Lord. Paul tells us not to be shocked when life doesn't turn out the way that we think that it will, but God's joy is right there despite things happening good or bad for us. He always loves us, always cares about us, and is always present. Will this next sermon be filled with joy and love? We're about to find out right now.
Tell you what, Andy Rechtenwald, you've been trying to stick it to me with your Andy challenges, but you can't get me down. I'm still supporting Andy. Andy, let's see how he does.
Getting a lot of boos over here. This is not starting off great. That does not bring me joy. What brings you joy? What makes you happy? Ben makes you happy? That's great. It's nice. Other than Ben Snyder, what brings you joy? What makes you happy? Peanut butter? Maybe when your team makes the Super Bowl and they actually win. This guy says Andy, so I got one here. That's great. There's all kinds of things that bring us joy, make us happy. There's all kinds of things that we think make us happy. Some of you are not happy because pennies are no longer a thing. Some of you, that's really loud. Some of you can't, you feel like you can't experience joy because maybe you have an older sibling who you feel like you're always in their shadow. And so it's tough for you to experience joy and happiness. Some of you, the fact that there was no sound after that is really living rent-free in my head right now. I should have gotten a sound for that one. I should have. And that one, I just said rent-free. This is really not going well for me. It's not bringing me joy. I said rent-free like 3 times. Can we just please, I need the next word. This is not going well. You know what doesn't bring me joy is when I have an expectation, when I'm expecting something, and then the reality does not meet that. It's like way down here. You ever have that before where you have hopes, you have an expectation, and then something happens and it's way below what you expected, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. It happened to me. It's happened to me many times in life. When I was a teenager, we were over at my stepdad's house, and my brother Mike and I were in the basement, and we were excited to watch him. We always watched the movie before we went to sleep. Usually it was like The Patriot, and we had a DVD back then, and so then when you were falling asleep, it was like the credits were or that like main menu was rolling over and over again. But one night, we were ready to watch our movie, and we were like 14, 15 years old, okay? We saw that my stepdad had left a half-drank bottle of Bud Light on the little counter in the basement. And so we were 14, 15 years old. You know what we thought to do? We were like, we can try this. This sounds great. Awesome. We can do it without getting caught because, you can't open up a bottle of your stepdad's or your mom's because they're going to know that you opened a bottle, but he left a half-drank one. So I was like, this is great. Let's split this half-empty bottle, a half-full bottle, really, of Bud Light. This sounds really great. And so my brother, Mike, we're like so close. We're stepbrothers, but we're 4 days apart. That's how close we are. He goes, Andy, you can have the first sip. As a 14-year-old boy, I was like, gosh, that's the greatest gift I could have ever got. So I took that bottle, and I took the biggest gulp you could take. And it wasn't beer. My stepdad chewed tobacco at the time. If you haven't filled in the blanks, if you haven't figured out what I drank that day, it was his spit combined with tobacco. It was disgusting. I'm still trying to figure out how to forgive him. Still trying to. It's just like, sometimes when we all have unmet expectations. I don't drink Bud Light at all anymore. Tastes terrible. Also, I can only think of minty, spicy Keith spit. It's terrible. Sorry. Okay, anyway. We always have unmet expectations. Maybe when you were in school, some of you are in school right now, you're going to get to the point where you have to take what they call a midterm. And you study really, really hard, but you studied the wrong stuff. And so you had these expectations to do really, really well, but you never made it over the fence and got the A. You had unmet expectations. And we could joke all we want. Silly story. We can talk about tests and stuff like that. But for many of us, many of you that are here today, you have unmet expectations. Why? Because we chase joy in all these different places. You chase happiness and fulfillment everywhere except for the one place you can actually find it. Paul, who's writing the letter to the Philippians, he's writing to a letter to a group of Christians, by the way, and he says, always be full of joy in the Lord. I say it again, rejoice. Those of you that follow Jesus, you could be tempted to believe that because you're a Christian, you will automatically have joy, but that's just not the case. It isn't the case. You have to choose joy over and over again every single day because life will throw all kinds of curveballs at you. And that's your bottom line. I'm gonna keep it simple. Your bottom line is choose joy. It is a choice. What can I do with it? How do I do that, Andy? Well, there's a whole host of different ways. You can download our app, and in the app, there's something called the Daily. And the first question you're asked is express gratitude for something. What are you grateful for? That's a great way to choose joy. Sarah said, God's got it. When you're going through the mess of life, choose joy. I can't remember Ben's bottom line, so I can't repeat it because it was very unmemorable.
Well, we are actually here with Andy's wife, Kayla. Kayla, how you doing?
I'm great.
Kayla, got a two-part question for you, okay? The stories that Andy tells, they're absolutely insane sometimes. One, does he run them by you? And two, how do you actually feel about them?
Absolutely not. And it depends on the day. Most of the time, it's fine. Always terrifying, every time.
Back to you, Luke and Lauren.
Kayla, blink twice if you're here against your will.
Poor Kayla.
Wow.
Oh, what did you think about that?
All right, Andy crushed it. Great job, Andy. His story was memorable. We tasted it. It was so memorable. His bottom line, choose joy, simple, to the point. He had a clear next step. Gratitude on the daily. Great job. And his random words got them all in. Pennies, shadow, rent-free, midterm, and fence. Andy shows, again, why he is the master.
Are you done? I'm sorry. I wasn't paying any attention. Wow. But I am ready for the Andy Challenge. For the final Andy Challenge, here we go. Andy, what am I going to do to share my commentary on you? Take a spoonful of peanut butter. Okay.
Andy, I'm not afraid of you at all. You should have run it in. You preach awesome. Way to go.
Listen, don't forget to vote, okay?
That was in your mouth.
It was okay, listen, there's some fun things coming up at Cedar Creek. Here it comes.
What are you doing with 2026? Another year on repeat? Or the year you try something different? What if you gave us 1 year to say yes, push yourself, step out of your comfort zone, serve others, and go somewhere you never expected? What if this is the year you figure out what God's been calling you toward all along? There's no limit to what God can do in you and through you. Don't sit this one out. Don't miss 2026 at Cedar Creek.
Wow.
We're still trying to pull things together over here. Listen, there's a lot going on at Cedar Creek. Luke, what do you think about that?
It is a fascinating time at the Creek, and I do want to say we had some incredible sermons. I would love to give a little recap here if I can pull it together.
Sure.
We had Barb, who gave us You Can Give Thanks in the Midst of Everything That Is Happening. Sarah had God's Got It. Ben, Don't Lean on Comforting Words Alone. Trust the presence that comforts us. And Andy had Choose Joy. Can we get our hands together one more time for all of our competitors?
So good all around. Don't forget to vote. This is your last chance. Get the votes in. We've got one more commercial. We'll be right back.
You cannot reach back into that bowl.
Ew.
Don't worry, guys.
It's not the chips I'm worried about.
These are the new Germ-X Doritos. Great flavor and kills 99.9% of germs.
So they're covered in disinfectant?
Yeah. It's like I just washed my hands. Better, even.
It's not.
New Germex Doritos. Blech!
Good news, they don't just make Germex Doritos, they also make Germex Q-tips.
That is disgusting.
Here, itchy ears?
Lauren, you really showed us something today. We are proud of you for completing the Andy Challenge. And I know you don't smoke, but I got you the next best thing. Go ahead and pull that out.
Oh my goodness.
That's right. We got 2 large Costco dogs.
Slimy.
$1.50 goes a long way. These things are beautiful.
Listen, this has been so very much fun. Can't wait to find out who the winner is. But Ben, you know you're my real winner. Can't wait to celebrate with a cigar later. Let's kick it back down to the field to find out the results.
Came with this too.
Well, you have voted. The results are in. And I'm sure you guys are wanting to find out who this year's Preach-Off winner is, correct? All right? All right. Without further ado, this year's winner is Team Ben. Barb, right over here, please. All right. So repeat, how you feeling?
I'm feeling awesome. Great job. Have a great teammate.
Ben, another one in the books. How are you feeling?
Couldn't have done it without the student section up here in the front row. Thanks, everybody, for bringing it on. Yep, that's great.
All right, thank you guys for joining us this year, but don't go anywhere just yet. We got a few words from our lead pastor, Ben.
Well, if it doesn't feel rigged before, it feels rigged now. You guys were great. That was amazing. I wasn't prepared for that. Let's give it up for those at all of our campuses, for our team. We had like 30, 40 production people pulling all of these things together, the people behind the scenes pushing buttons and transitioning. And I imagine there are some of you sitting here today and you're like, this feels different. You know, voting and competition and random words and, you know, commercials at church, which may have some of you wondering, like, is this really church? Just because for some of you it doesn't feel like church doesn't mean it isn't. See, sometimes our idea of what we think church is or should be doesn't actually match what the Bible teaches. See, church isn't a building. Church isn't a service with certain elements that you can expect every time. It's not quiet rows or loud songs. The Bible teaches that the church is the body of Christ. It's people like you and me who've been changed by Jesus, growing to become more like him, introducing other people to him along the way, and having fun and laughing. You can do that while you're learning, believe it or not. And so just because it's not always serious or stuffy doesn't mean that God isn't here. That's exactly what's happening right now. I mean, I believe that when you come into any life-giving church with an open heart, you can hear God speak to you. I mean, we started this year with a bold prayer. God, our answer is yes. What's your invitation for me? It's like pre-deciding, God, I'm ready for whatever it is that you're inviting me to do. And so today, I would challenge you right now. Where did you hear God speak? Like, yes, fun, joy. Did you hear that theme? Like, where is God inviting you to experience his presence, to choose joy, to not just rest in comforting words, but his comforting presence? Because God's got it, which means whatever circumstances you're facing, you can choose gratitude today. You can turn your heart to him. What is it that God's saying to you? What are you going to do about it? Like, if you're new and you're kind of curious, my challenge to you would be to give us a year and watch God change your life. 1 year of showing up, leaning in, saying yes, and watch what God may do. Take Samantha at our Findlay campus, for example. She shared with us that she started attending 1 year ago, January of 2025, and the only reason she came was to fulfill a probation obligation. And that weekend, I invited our church to give us a year and watch God change your life. Now, why am I sharing that story with you? Well, because this January, she shared her story with us because she was going public with her faith and getting baptized. And so Samantha came for the first time alone, and a year later had like 20 people around her cheering for her. Now, does she have it all figured out? No, she said that. Does she still have questions? Yes, but in her words, she knows this is what she wants and needs now. In fact, she's even serving on our students' dream team at the Findlay campus. Maybe your story is like hers. And today, you just need to say yes. Here's what you can have to look forward to. Our next series, starting next weekend, is called Re-Image Me. Because if you're like me, when you look in the mirror, we tend to focus on the things that we don't like, on what is wrong, on the things we want to cover or we wish we could change. And when that becomes the story that we live from, you live a life of anxiousness, restlessness, bitterness, or emptiness. But when we learn God's original intent, the Imago Dei, you were created in His image, and you begin to see that He wants to re-image how you view yourself in a way that helps you live confident and free. So we're going to spend a few weeks understanding that and beginning to step into that freedom. After that, we have a series called The Catch. Because if you're from Northwest Ohio, in March into April, you've probably seen the annual walleye run where thousands of people from all over line the Maumee River, stepping into the frigid cold water in hopes of catching a great catch. And one of Jesus' earliest invitations to His followers, He said, "Follow me and I'll teach you how to fish for people," which sounds unusual. But at its core, this invite is about what it really means to follow Jesus and to become like Him, letting Him shape you in every area of your life. And so we're going to be looking at what Jesus teaches there, alongside of learning about the catch in the Maumee River, and it'll prepare us for Easter. Easter is kind of weird when you think about it. We're celebrating and singing about the death of someone, a brutal death. But Easter is the moment where everything changed in heaven and on earth for us. It's actually my favorite weekend of the year, remembering God's power, His grace, His humility, and His victory over sin and sickness and death through the empty tomb. It's why we sing. It's why we can experience joy. It's why we laugh, because He is so good. So I want to invite you, whatever it is that you brought in with you today, would you just surrender that to Him and join us in celebrating how good our God is? That's what we're going to sing in just a moment. So whatever campus you're at, I'm going to invite you to stand up, say hello to the people around you as we begin to sing to our great, good God.